What's up, world? I am the Swamee. I'm trying a little bit of new tech right now. My initial computer was down for pretty much about a week and a half, almost two, so I haven't been able to come up with a lot of videos. But let's see how this one goes. This is a Spider-Man Far From Home reaction. There will be no spoilers for this particular movie review that I'm about to give. Usually I do the Swamee breakdown. I think to save time and be a little more efficient, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all that stuff down below in terms of the credits of the particular movie. So you can always check that out down below. Please make sure to subscribe if you like what's going on, and tell a friend. Spider-Man Far From Home. The Swamee breakdown of the Swamee analysis is in 3 parts. We're talking content, which is the script, the actual meat and skeleton actually of the movie. Second part is performance, that is the performance of the actors involved, actors and actresses, and then the third is the visual of the movie. So Spider-Man Far From Home, the content portion of this particular film or flick, kind of hard to say. There are pros and cons when I saw this movie in that respect, or in regards to this. It felt kind of basic. There weren't a lot of surprises. The villain, Mysterio, was kind of weak in comparison to the rogue gallery that Spider-Man has. It's kind of a lightweight. I do give respect to Marvel for making him the solo villain. I hope that wasn't a spoiler. But it wasn't like they teamed him up with like 5 other villains and tried to beef up the opposition that way. No, they stuck with the gun of Mysterio for this one and ran with it. Do or die, sink or swim. So I have to give a Swamee salute in that aspect, having the courage to, having the stones to go with Mysterio as the villain. Weren't a lot of big surprises from the aspect of the script itself. They basically stuck with the love story as sort of the primary element, I felt. And so no real sort of big twists and turns, unless you want to consider the end. One thing at the end, there is a post scene, so don't leave early. That sort of set things off. I'll probably do a spoiler filled review afterwards, maybe in another day or two, but nonetheless the content itself seemed to be basic. I don't want to call it lightweight, maybe pedestrian is the better word to use for this particular movie, but I had no problem with that. And I do want to say that the movie did do a good job, although I thought that the script was a little plain, a little vanilla. It did a good job of the reset, and I think that's what it needed to do. This is the first movie post-snap. This is the first post-snap movie for Marvel, and a lot of questions going in were based on, well, what are they going to do now? What's the universe going to be about? There's no more Thanos. There's no more Infinity Gauntlet. What's going to happen? What's going to hold the universe together? So it did a good job of moving on, progressing from that whole storyline. They talked about obviously Endgame and the aftermath of Endgame. Tony Stark's presence is there throughout the whole movie. Had a sort of an Optimus Prime post Transformers 1986 feel to it. And I think that it did a good job of establishing the new continuity of the Marvel Universe, of the MCU. Okay, guys, this is where we're trying to go. So while it wasn't terribly rich and layered, it did the job of the reset. And so for that, I gotta give it kudos. I give it 4 stars for that. The portrayal, the performance of the actors, I actually thought was pretty good. I was impressed. I think Tom Holland is settling into the role of Peter Parker and Spider-Man nicely. He sort of feels a lot more confident in the role, I felt. And he comes across well. The one thing I think, though, that they need to adjust is moving forward, as now we've seen Spider-Man and Peter Parker throughout a couple movies. He's been through some things. he has to mature a little bit. He's still sort of the young 14, wide-eyed 14, 15-year-old, and he's playing it that way. And there has to be a progression. He's been through too much as Spider-Man to still sort of be this innocent, wide-eyed, naive kid. So I'm hoping that moving forward that they do have a little bit more maturity where he's thrust into the sort of spotlight, and it's clear that they're trying to make him, at least for now, the center of the MCU. The replacement for Tony Stark, which I think is a smart move. He's the only character they have left that really has the gravitas to hold the MCU together, which I think is very important. I think the MCU is at a crossroads right now. I'm gonna do a video about that also. But nonetheless, he's doing a good job. He's settling in, and I think he may have surpassed Tobey in terms of the identity of the role and sort of being the premier Spider-Man. Yeah. So Mary Jane, or MJ, I'm sorry. I can't pronounce her name. Zendaya, I think it is. She does a good job, although I feel like the character itself is a little one-dimensional, and they're gonna have to do something with that particular character. Again, they're gonna have to show progression. That's pretty much the case with all the characters in this particular franchise with Spider-Man. You can't get away with what you got away with in Homecoming or even the little snippets that you saw before. So she's kind of the quirky, too smartest one in the room, not willing to be mainstream, the odd one out, the oddball. But that's gonna run thin. It's sort of a one trick pony, a one joke punchline kind of thing. So they're gonna have to progress her a little bit, I think, in the next one. But nonetheless, she pulls it off pretty good, and the chemistry is very good between those two, both as characters and as actor and actress. They do have a good chemistry. It looks natural, unlike Superman and Lois Lane in the DC universe, DCEU. Did I get those right? DCEU, I think that's what it is. Something like that. Anyway, so chemistry is important. They have it, but they need to progress with the role. I think that Aunt May, the decision they made in terms of love interests with her, but I'm not going to trip over that. But nonetheless, so the performance of the actors, I'm going to give 4 out of 5 stars to. 4 out of 5 Swamee stars. The visual, obviously, it's an MCU. The effects are always going to leave you kind of breathless. It's always going to be stunning visually. The CGI always keeps getting better. They did a really good job with Spider-Man's movements, which I think are the key to this franchise. That's where his sort of strength is. It's in the quips and the one-liners that he throws, and also the movements, the flexibility, the agility, and they do a lot of good scenes, especially the final fight scene, in highlighting that, his particular agility. The CGI with Mysterio, how they worked that was pretty good. The visual was pretty much a standard MCU, no disappointments there, nothing big wowing me, but at the same time, it's really hard to step up the game beyond what they're doing anyway in Hollywood today. The budget is high, the graphics are high, so that's what you're gonna get. So I'm gonna give that 3 out of 5 Swamee stars, actually, just because it didn't wow me, but it was solid. So there you got it. Content, performance, visual. So overall, I'm gonna give this particular flick, Spider-Man Far From Home, 4 Swamee stars. Well done to the MCU for establishing the reset, and that was the most important thing that this film had to do, to set the tone post-snap. And I think they did a good job of that. Stay tuned, do not leave. There's more than one post-scene credits, and those are more important than anything else that you're going to see in the movie. They're setting things up so they either can knock this out the park, or they can slip and fall on their face. So they're setting things up. I'm looking forward to what they're gonna do with it. There is a common Spider-Man theme that they're playing on. I will give you the hint of it's a popular vintage Spider-Man cover involving Spidey and Doc Ock. That's all I'm going to say about that. And I'm interested. I'm curious to see what's going to happen. I know you are too. So I think you should go see the movie. It's worth the money. And it sets things up nicely, and it gives you an idea of where they're planning to go, where their head is at for the future of the MCU. And we're going to see what they do. They're on course to either do great things, but if they don't execute, they may be in trouble. That's not a prediction, but just an observation. Nonetheless, hope this comes in handy for you. Hope you enjoy your day. Again, make sure to subscribe down below if you like what I'm doing. Definitely going to be working on some upgrades, making things better. I hope this works. Everybody out there, I just want to say peace. Enjoy yourselves. And that's it. I'm done. The Swamee has spoken.